Welcome back to Trapani's Choice, episode number 12. Your host, Nick Trapani. And this is the final episode to my six-part series, Most Influential Comedians. And I'm going to be looking at a very, very, very special comedian. But before I get started, make sure you go to my YouTube channel and click subscribe to show your support. And like the video as well. And make sure you leave a comment, anything. Just tell us how we're going, if there's anything you like, or anything that you want us to do in the future. But let's get into it, guys. This comedian, he's a comedian, a writer, an actor, a 7-time BAFTAs Water winner. 5 times he's won the British Comedy Awards and 2 Emmy Awards. It's the one and only Ricky Gervais. What a comedian. That alone is just a bit of a write-up. He's done many specials, he's done TV series, and you might also know him from TV series such as Extras, The Office, Afterlife, Derek. What hasn't he been in? He's been in movies. He's just a lovable character. You know, that's really the reason why he's on my list, and there's many reasons, and I'm going to tell you a little secret later in the episode as well of something that I haven't really told anyone, but I'll share with you guys today later in the episode. But it's to do with his character more so than anything of why he's on my list. It's not about his jokes necessarily. It's really about who he is. And I feel like I relate so much to that because he is really this childlike character off stage as well, where he just loves to antagonize people and whatnot. And that's what I love doing. So the people closest with me will tell you that, I spend most of my time antagonizing them, sometimes until they break and crack it at me. But for me, that's the comedy. I love that not stopping at someone until they get really annoyed. And that's the joke really for me in this. And Ricky does that so well on stage and off stage. It's so good to see. And that's also part of his the radio show that he was on years ago on XFM, and then he created a podcast. He was one of the pioneers of podcasting, really. And that's where he did his podcast with Stephen Merchant and Carl Pilkington. And, you see the way that he antagonizes Carl in that. And you also hear other friends in interviews that he talks about. He just constantly annoys them. Now, I'm not going to play the clips again. I'm just going to show you a link at the top. The first link that I'm going to play, it's just going to show you how brilliant he is on stage, though. And all those little mannerisms that I talk about, and the British humour that comes out, that dry humour, and those just the little things that he does that also add to the jokes. So it's not just the wording of the jokes. Sometimes he can cut a sentence halfway. It will still be funny because you get the gist of it just from his facial features or his moving or his whatnot. And it's so clever and so well done. And don't think that any of it is done by mistake. It is all done specifically for that bit. And I really love how in every joke that he does, pardon me, there is several punchlines, but bang, 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 they're quick, short punchlines that go on. And when he gets you with it, he keeps on going on that one joke. And it is so clever, so simple, but so clever at the same time. And one thing with Ricky, he is a really educated man. You can see in everything that he does, he is so switched on. So when he's running through jokes and whatnot, it's hard to not agree with them because the fact and the opinion that he puts to it is sort of, it's really well done. So you can't argue the point at all. It's and he's so direct. He is very much, his jokes they're funny because they're so correct. And that's the joke, really, isn't it? Now, with that part of that clip, and I really strongly suggest you go and check them out, the links that I put in, because it will paint more of the picture of what I'm talking about. But just look at how he segues from talking about a gorilla and making that funny to then segueing into religion. Once again, Ricky Gervais is a self-confessed atheist. It seems to be a bit of a trend among all these comedians, or maybe comedians in general, the fact that they are constantly thinking about things. And I believe that really we get exposed to so much because we're thinking outside the box always. Like, we will find an object and we will try and find what's funny about that object and look at it 50 different ways. So really, I mean, something like the Bible, we can very easily pick apart to being hilarious and funny and all these little things that can't be accurate because they don't fit in. There's so many holes. So the way he does it is brilliant though, and he's so fun-loving in his character. And you'll see that in his TV series as well. Earlier on, I mean, if you haven't seen Extras, make sure you go out and watch Extras because it is brilliant. So basically the concept of the series is that he plays a character that all they're doing is trying to get extra roles in TV shows and movies until they get their big break. That alone is hilarious. I don't need to talk about it anymore because it's such a funny concept. And then to go into The Office where he plays the most uncomfortable boss of this company. It's cringeworthy. It's just, but it's so clever and so well done. And he also wrote that with Stephen Merchant, which I mentioned before he was on his radio show with. And I'll get to that in a little bit because that's also want to talk about my secret. But I want to play another little bit first. I'll put the clip above. So make sure you go to it. And what I was talking about with religion and stuff like that, this is such a fun part where he's picking to pieces a book, Noah's Ark. And you'll just love the nature in which and the way that he giggles and laughs just makes it so much more entertaining to watch. This is one bit that I've watched over and over again, and I still find it fantastic to watch each time. Each time it makes me laugh, and I love when he talks about how many species of spiders alone, before you think about any other animal, where are you going to put all them on the ark, and how big this shit must have been just to get every species of spider, let alone anything else. Now, this little secret that I've got, there might only be a couple of people that know about this, Mahale in particular, because we have a joint YouTube channel so that we can upload these videos for you. So we can go back over the history and see what it is that we've watched previously. Now, every single night for probably the last 3 years, and this will let you know how crazy I actually am, and every night to go to sleep, I listen to Ricky Gervais, Carl Pilkington, and Stephen Merchant in their podcasts and radio series. And you can just go on YouTube, and sometimes there's like 10-hour lengths of this, and I just put the headphones in, close my eyes, and I've listened to every single episode, every single minute of everything they've done. Some parts still have me in hysterics, but I think it's more to do with, I know it, so I don't have to think about it. It stops my mind because, like most comedians, our minds don't turn off. So I have to listen to him or listen to anything really, so that my mind's not going here, there, and everywhere. It's staying focused on one thing, and that allows me to fall asleep. I've also got my son in the bed that snores, or in the bedroom with me, who snores and everything. So from him tossing and turning and making noise, it helps me tune that out. He won't sleep unless I'm within 5 meters of him. So it becomes very difficult, seeing that I'm such a light sleeper as well. So that's where Ricky Gervais comes into play. Now, if you don't know this series at all, you might listen to it and think, what's going on here. And I'll give you a quick little rundown. So Carl Pilkington was actually the producer of the show. He was meant to just be pushing buttons on and off, going to ad breaks, playing the songs. And the show was done with Stephen Merchant, his co-producer in those TV series that I spoke about earlier. Now, Ricky thought that Carl Pilkington was such an interesting character, just a very simple man from Manchester, and he basically wanted the world to see who this guy was. And he did his bit to make him famous. He's put him in TV shows like Idiot Abroad. Then he put him further into the podcast. Then they've made podcasts on their own, which is basically just around asking Carl Pilkington questions and seeing what his answers will be. It is absolutely fantastic. And people thought that this was a character that they'd made up, but it's clearly not, because it would be so hard and so much time that you would have to do that. So check out his podcast. You can just check it out on YouTube and whatnot, and find it there. Now, there's not many comedians that you would say that would be able to host the Golden Globe Awards in such a manner. And the fact that they keep on calling him back and back and back. So I'm going to put another clip here of the last Golden Globes that he did, and how he managed to get up and just not care of who he offended or what he said. And there's some really, really touchy topics going on at the moment within Hollywood and some of these elite groups. He singles out people about a pedophile ring that's going on, and he's it's cringeworthy if you look into all the stuff that he mentions in this, but he doesn't care who he offends, and that's what's got him so far. I think that was his 4th Golden Globe Awards, and they keep inviting him back, and he's never gone up there and not gone all in to offending these people, and they love it. It might be more so that everyone else loves it, that it gets the ratings. But if you look on the clip that I've just put up on the Golden Globes, you'll see how many people are dying just to see him. So it'll be interesting to see if he ever does another one, because he said that would be his last. So I guess he went with the attitude of really not caring this time. But you can also go to other videos where people will pick apart every little thing he says, because you might not know some of the topics he's talking about within Hollywood and some of the accusations that have been made that he touches on during those Golden Globes. So check that out, guys. Now, look, I'm going to wrap this episode up, but I really want you to know that I've thoroughly enjoyed going back over every comedian that I've looked at and basically researching their stuff and reminding myself of what it was about them and why they made this list. So Ricky Gervais, for me, really was about his nature off stage as well, of antagonizing people relentlessly, being a child. I kind of feel like I sort of hit 16 and my mind never... I guess I got more involved in wanting to learn more information. So I won't say that I haven't advanced academically or anything like that, but my mindset's always been, as a kid, I get in a lot of trouble for, taking the piss out of everyone, antagonizing. My closest friends will verify, and they often say that if it's just one-on-one, it's okay, but get another 2 or 3 people there, and I will just be relentless on one of them for the whole night. So I find that that's where I relate to Ricky, and that's why he's made this list. And I'm so glad that I've gone back over his material and watched all his specials, because really, do yourself a favor, start off with animals and work your way all through. Science is fantastic as well. Work through his specials. But I've really enjoyed doing this series. It's been a long 6 weeks of doing this, especially in the lockdown and whatnot, but it's been fun. Now, the next episode I'm going to do for you guys, I'm going to be putting a post out on my Instagram page. So make sure you go to my Instagram page and follow. That's at Trapani's Choice. because I'll be putting a post out shortly. And what I want you guys to do is ask me a question. I'm going to be answering questions in the next podcast. It can be absolutely anything you guys want. So write a comment down below of a question or DM me a question and I'll get back to you. I'll bring that out. I'll have a list of all the questions. So make sure you get to my YouTube channel as well and subscribe. Like the podcast if you've liked it. Leave a comment for me. We love it. Mahale and I both really appreciate all the support that we're getting from you guys, but we want some more subscribers and more likes. We're also, as you can see, I'm wearing a little bit of my merch today, a long sleeve tee. We'll be getting the shop up and running for you guys shortly. So keep your eyes peeled for our hoodies, our t-shirts. We'll have some hats as well. So make sure you check that out, guys. You can also find all my episodes on SoundCloud and Apple Podcast. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this series as much as I have. I've been Nick Trapani, your host. Mahal in the behind the scenes. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you back shortly for the next episode of the podcast. Well, that's a wrap to the 6-part series.